Hey, I'm gonna show you my favorite paintings. And the thing I like about them, it's a series of 4. First I'm gonna talk about the first 2. Wanna see them? Look at this. It's a painting from 1842 by Thomas Cole. It's a landscape painting. And look, a little boat with a baby on it and an angel. And it's part of a series called The Voyage of Life. Landscapes are my favorite kind of painting. Something about them. What's in the foreground and what's in the background. Well, the way that I learned about this painting and this series by Thomas Cole was about learning what is in the painting, and that's called the composition. And then what we may think the painting means, like the interpretation or a metaphor. So first, the composition. Well, there are mountains. A big mountain with a little river and creek that comes from it. And on the creek is a boat with a baby and an angel. And if you look closely, the angel is holding the tiller on the back of the boat to steer it. And on the front of the boat is like a angel holding an hourglass. And the little baby is just sitting on flowers, part of the boat, and going for the ride. And from the creek, the water leads to some flowers in a field and a valley, and a sunrise. So, the composition of this painting is, well, like a symbolic way to show the beginning of life. And not just because there's a baby and it's small, or because there is a sunrise and it's morning, but because the boat comes from a very, very dark place. And it's beginning a journey. Just like we do. And you can imagine what might be in the cave or behind it, but the idea is that it's very dark. And maybe we don't know what's behind it. All we know is that going forward and going ahead, life is very bright and colorful and full of life. I think that's a very, very ordinary way of thinking about ourselves, especially when we're this small. One of the most common ways to interpret the boat and the baby and the angel is the angel represents a parent. And when we think of ourselves as the baby on the boat, being pushed along. kind of like a stroller. And the baby isn't steering or deciding where to go. The angel controls it and decides. Kind of like how parents do. It may be hard to see, but that hourglass at the front, it's almost full. And so that means that a person's life, there's a lot of time. Because this is just the beginning. Okay, that's the first one. This is called Childhood. Want to see the next one? Here. The second painting in the series is called Youth. Look at this. Now, if you put them side to side, it almost goes like a little story, see? And the baby on the boat with the angel. And here. Well, the person on the boat is a bit older now. If I had to guess, I would say 14 or 15. Yeah. And look, the youth is holding the tiller on the boat now and deciding where the boat goes. And the angel is standing over there on the land, either waving farewell or waving hey, come this way. But the youth says, no, I want to go this way instead. And where is the youth going? Well, they are driving and steering the boat up the creek toward this area. Toward a dream in the sky. And that's youth. I think this is very accurate. Because when we are this age, we feel very capable. And when it comes to making decisions, we tend to decide to do and go where we feel like we want to. Now the difference in the land between childhood and youth is, look, there are dark mountains that go into a valley with a sunrise. Here, the sun is more overhead. The land is a valley. A very beautiful valley with the peaceful, calm river, growth, trees, hills, and in the back even mountains in the back. Even over here where the angel is standing. And then in the sky, the little one is dreaming about castles and kingdoms. Just like we all do. Now there's a interesting thing about this painting in the series, and that is foreshadowing. Because look behind the angel. You see that? It's a waterfall with some rough water and rocks. And that's because the river and the stream begins going this way, where the youth believes that they are heading, but then it hooks around behind the trees here. You can see the river, and heads for these rocks and stones. But the youth isn't paying attention to that. The youth is, wanting that instead. I think this is pretty spot on. Yeah. 1842. These paintings are 100 years older than the Norman Rockwell paintings that I showed you earlier. So these were 100 years old when Norman Rockwell made the Four Freedoms. Yeah. And this was a series of 4, even though these are only 2 of the 4. Look at the difference between the boats. Here. See? Youth and childhood. See? The boat is facing toward the right. The angel is staring at. Here, the boat is facing toward the left. And the youth is staring at. And the angel's over there. Also, it may be hard to see, but the hourglass is depleting more. And that's normal. When you're 14, 15. Yeah. That's how we all think. It's not a bad thing. It's just normal. Yeah. So, when I first learned about these, I learned about the artist, this series, different paintings that the artist made, other facts about history. But I don't want to talk about history. Instead, I want to tell you the reason why I love these and the reason why they're my favorite. It's because my love for these paintings grow over time. And so I love them more every time I see them. And it's because I see and noticed more of these paintings each time. And I don't mean paying more attention to details and seeing more, like in the flowers or in the background, the sky, the mountains, even details on the boat. When I say that I see more in these paintings, what I mean is I have a more full understanding about what happens in between them. See that? In a series, maybe even in like a comic strip, or even just a series of photos. And we look at exactly what the picture is here, and then here. And the idea of what happens to go from here to here is up to each person to imagine. And so as I get older, I love these more because I have more of an understanding what happens in this part here. That may seem silly to think about, but I think it's true. Hey, want to know something else why I love these? Well, each person gets to decide what the composition and the parts of the painting mean. So remember how many people think of the angel as the parent and the little baby as themselves, growing up and going through life. Well, here's the way I see it, now that I'm a parent. The angel is responsibility. And when you are at this age, you have very few responsibilities to handle. It's up to me and every parent to take care of the responsibilities for you so you don't have to. We handle these responsibilities in the background. You don't notice, or think about them, or pay attention, or even care. You're much too young. But that doesn't change the fact that the responsibility is there. Now, if the angel is responsibility, well, what does this say? And when we become this person's age, yeah, responsibility is still there. Never went away. But now we get to make decisions about it. We may decide, hey, between responsibilities and dreams, well, you want the dreams. When I describe it like that, the painting feels a little different. And it's not just about a phase of life. It becomes a way to explain ourselves. And you know what? This is very normal. Even I had some of this in me back when I was this age. So I think it's very normal, even ordinary. One more thing I'll say about this. If the angel is responsibilities, and this castle in the sky, if that is our dreams, and we face a decision, responsibilities or dreams, I think the person is, well, I can't be too judgmental because it's only just one very small snapshot of time, but the person has chosen dreams over responsibility. And so I hope that as you grow, you are able to see that you actually need both as a balance. Both are important. Dreams don't replace responsibility. And responsibility doesn't replace dreams. You need both. A person who may spend all of their time thinking about their dreams, and they may not handle their responsibilities so well, the ones that matter and are important. But there's a secret. if you do have dreams, but you put them off because you have too much responsibility, that can be just as sad, because there may be a day much later when you've realized you've done all of the things that you believe that you need to do. You've handled your responsibilities. And in that whole time, you didn't do anything for your dreams. That can be sad. Because you need both. So next time I'll talk about 2 more. Love you.